Okay friends, today we're going to talk a little bit about creating some surfaces for curvature, things like that. So this is just a little introduction to surfaces. I'm not going to go into any great detail, make it nice and quick. So the first thing I want to do is go over here and copy a plane, and I will choose the right plane, and then I'll make another plane, and I'll pull this out at about 30. That should be good. So now I have two planes, one at base 0 and 130 units out. And now what I'm going to do is stop my sketching. So I'm going to go to the right plane, go to Sketch, and go into the Sketch View. And I'm going to use good old spline. Take the spline tool, click right on the x-axis, come up over here, click over here, come up over here, then click over here, then click down over here. Okay, now I want to make sure these dimensions are memorable, so I'm going to put in 20 on this side, and then on this side I'm going to also put in 20, and then I'm going to go up to the top and I'm going to change this to 35. Okay, so now I have a very strange shape. It's 20, it's 35. It's not so important what the shape is, I just want to get going here, so I'm going to say OK. So there's my first shape. Now I'm going to go over to this next plane, which was 30 units away, and I'm going to sketch on that plane. Okay, I'm going to flatten it out, and I'm going to again go to the spline tool. I'm going to try to get it exactly in the same spot, but I can adjust that later. I'm going to come up over here, maybe I'll come up down a little lower. Maybe come over here, and then I will click in over here, try to make it the same. Okay, that's done. Now I want to set these dimensions also at 20. Just to be easy, we'll say 20. And this one here is going to be, okay, 20. And then up here I'll make this 25 so it comes down a little bit. So now I say okay. Now, what I want to do is connect with lines the two ends down the sides. So I'm going to use my top plane here, and I'm going to go again into sketch mode and go to flatten that out. And what I'm going to do is create a line, and I'm going to try to find the end point here. Okay, and I'm going to come down to this line, and then I'm going to do the same on this side with a line, just to try to box the whole thing up. Now, what you may find is that you cannot get the exact position. This is why it is important for us to do a normal check here. And let's make sure that that's at 40, because remember it's 20 and 20 to the two ends. And then let's do another normal check on that line and make sure that that's at 20. And that will ensure that our lines are at the same places, but we still might be a little bit off on our corners. So what I like to do is I like to zoom in on those corners and see if they are in fact identical. Looks like it's good on this side. We'll zoom in over here, and that side looks pretty good, because if these are not right, the surface is not going to create, and we'll have to come back. And I think I may have gotten this. If I don't have it, what I can do is I can come up here to my constraints and do a coincident constraint and make sure that this dot and this dot are in the same spots. But this looks like it might be pretty good. Okay, so there's my shape. Now the next thing I want to do is, this is where it gets fun. I'm going to go over to the Style. In the Style tool, I'm going to simply click on the sides that I want to create a surface. So I'm going to go up here to Surface, and I'm going to choose this first side, and then I'm going to hold the Control key down and choose this other side. And if you've got your lines all connected up, you will see that you have this surface, which looks kind of nice. If we say OK, there it is, we have a surface. Now we can take this part and we can assemble it onto another piece. This would be really good for making cars. As you could see, you can make some nice curves, or any kind of part that needs some kind of curvature that you can't get with the basic extrude. So that looks pretty good. One last thing, if we wanted to do some editing to this surface, we could go up to Surface Edit, and we could change our rows. Let's make 10 rows, 10 columns, and then what happens is we get a series of lines and dots, and with these lines and dots we can adjust or pull out different sections of our surface here. As you can see, one thing you might want to do is you might want to come up here and make sure that your move is set to free. Free will allow you to move these dots X, Y, Z in any position. But you can see as I move these out, and you don't want to get too crazy. As you see, I did get a little too crazy there. You don't want to get a little too crazy, but you can pull out different things, and you can give your surface some movement, some positions, move some things out, move some things. Again, make sure that you've got these set to free, and you want to be able to move these dots freely and not be tied. Of course, you can tie them, but then we're getting into some other things. But play around with this, and you'll see that you can do some pretty cool things. I don't know what this is going to be, but looks like the beginnings of some kind of a mask. That's kind of a strange mask, but nonetheless a mask. So that's a little introduction into styling and surfacing and doing some fancy things with your parts. Have fun with this. Take care.